I am Jack Posobiec.
This is what happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Deliver us from evil.
Ladies and gentlemen, kind of feels like it's a white boy summer around here. But I'll tell you something else. It's also a summer for the red, white, and blue. Because it is time, with God as our witness, to understand that which is truly going on, because we know the man who stood on this stage last night, Donald J. Trump, we understand the forces against him. It's not just liberals. It's not just Democrats. It's not just the unhuman communists, because we understand that this is a war against the demonic. This is a spiritual war. And we can only defeat a spiritual war with Christ as King, because Christ is King. Christ is King. With God on our side, who can stand against us if God is with us? So that's why when we march, and we will march into the lion's den of the globalists, the lion's den of Davos and the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, who's tried to take me out so many times, we are going to tell them that we're going to come to the front lines of freedom right here in Detroit, Michigan, the scene of the crime, the place where our holy republic was taken from us, and we will restore it from the bottom up. We will restore our republic. And as President Trump has told us, we will create a magnificent republic, because we understand they are trying to take away our freedoms. They are trying to take away the freedoms of people like Steve Bannon, people like Peter Navarro, who is a political prisoner right now, this very instant, and people like Donald J. Trump, who they want to lock up for 700 years. Are you going to let them lock up Donald Trump? Are you going to let them turn this movement into political dissidents and political prisoners? Will you stand for a totalitarian regime that takes away our freedoms, that takes away our liberties, that takes away our children, that takes away our right to worship, that takes away our right to defend ourselves with the Second Amendment. And a regime that will take us down, what do you have to say to them? Absolutely not. So you know, we've got the new book out. It's called Unhumans. You've got to purchase this thing because we've broken their system. We've cracked their communist codes. We understand how to beat them, and we are going to take all of them down in just 140 days on blessed November 5th when Donald J. Trump is re-elected President of the United States. Now, I know I promised you all a special guest today. You may be thinking, my brother was out here as my special guest, and he's a special guy, of course. We love Kevin. But there's another man. There's a man who taught us many things. A man that is hated even more by the media, all those media back there, even more than Donald Trump. Even more than us. A man who taught us that there's a war on for your mind. A man who taught us that if you are listening to this, you are the resistance. And a man who taught us that the answer to 1984 is 1776. Let's play the video.
Censored ban in the English language.
They want me shut down. I can't just roll over you, Cal. So you've made me be all in for Trump. They're waging war against civilization and society to break our old system to bring in something even worse. This is part of the global awakening to the New World Order. It's all about breaking our will.
The answer to 1984 is 1776! 1776!
1776! 1776! 1776!
Just 3 or 4 days ago, the great folks at Turning Point Action invited me out here. I'm very blessed and honored to be here. We are in the very center, the TCF Center, where almost 4 years ago in the dead of night, they stole the election, not just from our amazing president, but from us. And it is very, very poignant and important and a message to the globalists that we are here now in the very same building, 100 yards from where the trucks came in at 2 a.m. and with the fake ballots. And we come right back to this territory and we say, we are turning this whole country red. We're restoring the republic and we're bringing down the New World Order.
USA! 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 USA!
Now, we have an incredible champion in President Trump. And he is going to win in a landslide so big, they're not going to be able to steal it. It's so big, they can't rig it. Too big to rig! Too big to rig! Too big to rig! Too big to rig! That's what all the numbers and facts show. But I want to just talk briefly about who our enemies are. They are globalist, transhumanist, world government, and only America stands in their way. And in just the last few months, as you know, across the world, from Latin America to Australia to New Zealand to Eastern Europe to Western Europe to Canada, in every major election, the conservative, populist, anti-New World Order parties are winning and taking over. And Klaus Schwab, the head of the WEF that basically runs the UN, has had to resign, and there is massive pressure on our arrogant enemies everywhere. They are not as arrogant as they used to be. But we have got to be peaceful in the next 140 days. They're going to try to stage civil unrest. They're going to try to bill it as a civil war. They're going to try to absolutely pull out all the stops and expand war with Russia. They are going to do everything they can to continue to crash the economy because they are in direct war with we the people. So this fight for America is key, not just for us, but the entire world. Because if this republic falls, the entire world falls to the UN and the globalists and their hellish plan to literally take everything you've got, including your children, away from you. The New World Order is ultra-rich, anti-capitalist monopoly families and banks like BlackRock that literally want to end the open free society and consolidate total control and colonize your mind and your family and your spirit. And they are not atheists. They are transhumanists that believe they're going to be God. And whether it's Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates or Yuval Noah Harari, they represent the globalist ruling class of the planet who say the future is not human. Well, we got news for them. The future is not globalist. The future is human. And President Trump is a great man, super smart, amazing. He wanted to turn the country around. He's pro-human, he's pro-free market, he's pro-family, he's pro-freedom, he's pro-security. But he's even said it himself. When he got in almost 8 years ago, he had no idea how bad the corruption was, and how these people would lie right to his face over and over and over again. But now, coming back in 140 days, President Trump is born again hard, and he knows the facts, and he is going to go after that deep state and remove the deep state coup that's been over America. And you can...
Alex, I have to ask you, and I'm going to interview you for a minute. Alex, what do you think they'll do to President Trump between now and Election Day?
You're reading my mind.
What will they do to him?
God literally gave us Donald Trump, imperfect as most men or women that God raises up in history. But he is a man of steel. He is a man who has ice water in his veins. He is a man who gets stronger under attack. And so they have already put him through hell with all these show trials and rigged courts, civil and criminal. And they are going to try to assassinate President Trump. Make no mistake about that. They are going to try to pull out all the stops. And so we've got to pray for President Trump many times a day. And we've got to bust our rear ends to get out there in America, because the people are waking up and they're ready to become fully awake, and let them know that the WF and the UN and Bill Gates have said they're bringing new lockdowns, more forced injections. They're cutting off the farms. They're cutting off the energy. And if you think the economy in free fall right now is bad, it is going to be 10 times worse. So this is existential. We are at war with the globalists, and we must now recognize that this is a war. This is just as important as 1776, and in the context of the population of the world and the weapons we have now, it is more important. This is a continuation of the fight between free, open societies and tyrannical world government. And the left represents the most evil, wicked, anti-free market corporations on the planet, led by BlackRock, that thinks it controls your life. But not just here. All over the world, the public's getting educated about central bank digital currencies and ESGs and social credit scores. And all over the United States, governors and attorney generals and people like Ken Paxton from the great state of Texas are moving against the globalists to pull public funds and pension funds out of these globalist corporations that try to control our lives and try to control our behavior, as Larry Fink said.
Let me tell you something about Alex. The lies they spread about Alex, they've tried to take him out more than they've tried to take any of us out. But let me tell you what it is. What they'll never say is that Alex Jones has spent 30 years being the loudest voice for freedom, for liberty, and for anti-war that this world has seen. He stood against them, and that's why they're against him.
Well,
they have tried to burn him to the ground, but he won't stop fighting.
Well, thank you. But if it wasn't for people like Jack Posobiec supporting me when I was under attack, or Tucker Carlson, or people like Joe Rogan, but all of folks like you, they would have taken me down. They saw me as a symbol of a populist that had their number, understood their plan, and that if the information got out, the world would awaken and they would be defeated. But if they think they've got a problem with Alex Jones and all the lies and all the disinformation and all the show trials and all the rigging, imagine their horror now when they've got twin Godzillas of Donald Trump coming after them, and now Elon Musk goes to the World Government Summit at the WEF last year, and he says, your world government's dead on arrival. It's totalitarian, it's anti-human, and we're going to have a pro-human future. And when I interviewed him for 2.5 hours a few months ago, I said, Elon, should we not call it Team Humanity against Team Satan, against Team New World Order? And he said, yes, let's launch Team Humanity. Team Humanity.
Team humanity. Team humanity. Team humanity. Team humanity. Team humanity. Alex, I love that, because what you're doing is you're uniting all of humanity. They are the unhumans. They are unhumans because that is what they do. They want to unhuman us.
That's what
they want to rob us of our liberty. They want to rob us of our identity, of our culture, of our language, of our faith, everything that makes us actual spiritual connected beings in this world. They want us atomized. They want it to be insectoids. They want us to eat the insectoids. They want us to live. Will you eat the bugs?
No.
Will you live in the pod?
No. Absolutely. And now the battle lines are being drawn.
Are you going to let them turn the frogs gay?
Are you going to let them brainwash and take your children? And that's what this is about. We are pro-human. Old, young, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everybody that has red blood, that loves God and wants a pro-human future. And as long as we get that message out, and as long as we don't support the globalists and all these anti-human systems they're putting out, we are going to win. And when we take back America, we're going to start the project to take back the world, not through force, but through intellectual and spiritual power under Christ, under God. And we are going to launch the next project of 1776 worldwide. 1776 worldwide human liberty in a declaration against tyranny. And you quoted me earlier, and it's a powerful saying. I was covering Bilderberg in 2006 in Canada, back when the media still said it didn't exist. They'd arrested me, held me in a jail cell for a day. They released me, and this famous British economist, I later knew he was famous, he died a little while after, came to me, and he'd been head of one of their parties. And he said, he goes, I'm a mathematician and economist, but Alex, you need to understand that you need to quantify what's happening political into mathematics, and I have a slogan for you. He said, the answer to 1984 is 1776. And he's in my film Endgame. You can look him up. But that's really it. The answer to their 1984 anti-human, dehumanization world is humanity coming together and celebrating freedom that God gave us and saying, no, the answer to 1984 is 1776. And I told the globalists this 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. Going back 20 years ago, speaking to a crowd of 10,000 people at a movie premiere of one of my films in New York. This was a diverse crowd, conservative, liberal, old, young, you name it. And I said, listen, if we just warn people about the New World Order plan, which was all on record and progressing at that point, once they go into full operational phase, which they're in now, under Agenda 2030 that launched in 2020, there'll be a lot of credibility and we won't be caught with our feet flat. So I went on to say, so I have a message to the globalists. I don't know how all this is going to end, but if you want to fight, you better believe you got one. They declared war on us. They're attacking us. They're surveilling us. They're censoring us. They're cutting off our energy, our water, our communications, our freedom. We're simply recognizing it and saying, we're not going to roll over and die. Our God is the God of the universe that created it all, and your little God, Satan, is a loser. Yeah.
Alex, with the last couple of minutes we have, tell all the people here and the millions watching at home, what can we do? What can we do as activated individuals to prepare for the coming battle?
pray, ask God for discernment, lead God and direct you, and then start small. Just go to your church and speak. Go speak at your work. Go to rallies. Support President Trump, and just be a volunteer for poll watching. Many hands make light work. And the globalists are going to try to cause civil unrest. They build a race war. They try to turn into a civil war, especially once he gets reelected. There'll be 79 days of hell. He will be reelected. They can't stop it, I believe, if we work hard. It's done if we show up. But as soon as he is president-elect, the 79 days between then and January 20th, 2025, they are going to roll out the stops and try to trigger a race war. And that's a total lie and a fraud. And we're all waking up and coming together. But that's why they got movies about civil war, and they're hyping it. And all the Democrat Party operatives are claiming there's white militias hiding in the bushes. They're going to come kill people. So we've got to get ahead of that narrative. We have to stop Biden starting World War III as a distraction. They are that desperate because there is a global, worldwide political realignment against the New World Order. The New World Order is a couple thousand arrogant people led by King Charles, who sits around and talks about how he wants to depopulate people, and so did his father, Prince Philip. And I'm telling them right now, we are not rolling over and dying for you inbred globalists. You will not divide and conquer us any longer. We want a pro-human we want a pro-human future under God with justice and liberty and freedom. And again, we are not going to submit to this anymore. They thought they were intimidating us for the last 20 years, attacking and demonizing conservatives and Christians and populists. But really, they weren't intimidating people. We were asleep. Now they're bullying us, and we're awake. So they're trying to bully a huge giant. They've got a tiger by the tail, and as long as we never give up, we are invincible.
You keep giving us time. They must like it.
I've got a lot of points here, but I just want to say something right now.
By the way, he comes to me. He goes, Jack, how much time do I got? I got like a little speech here. I got to prepare. I was like, Alex, I thought you'd just come out and talk. He's like, no, I got a lot to say, Jack. I got a lot to say. So, Alex, what do you think? Should we let him talk? All right, let's let him talk. Have at it.
Well, I like you interviewing me too, Jack. I mean, look, I cannot express to you how epic the time is right now. You don't need me to tell you that. You can see it. You can feel it. You see the enemies of humanity, these mercenaries that have sold their soul to this tyranny. They're desperate. They have fear in their eyes because they know all the incredible crimes they have committed. And so that's why they're a cornered animal. And that's why they're so dangerous. But when we talk about President Trump, he says it all the time. They're not coming after him. They've got to get through him to get to us. And that's totally true. They're not trying to get me or Jack Posobiec or any of these other great people here today. They're trying to get every one of you and break your will and turn America into a tyranny, because if America still exists, the rest of the world will aspire to it, and it will be the model, and freedom will grow. That's why we are target number one. And that's why God created this country. We're not perfect, but we've been the best house in a bad neighborhood, and we have been given a birthright and a destiny by God through free will. If we take on this challenge, we won't just empower our families and ourselves. Through God, we will save the world. And that is what we are doing here today.
I've got homework for every single person in this room. I want to make sure that when you leave here today, turn to the person next to you. Make friends. Get their contact info. Get their whatever, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever the platform is you use, Telegram. I use Telegram a little too much. We are the unity that they don't want to see. They don't want to see us here on Sunday mornings, uniting, being together, talking about these issues, bringing our people together. They don't want to see you. They want to think you're alone. They want to think you're not animated. They want to think that you're asleep. They don't want these people to be together. They want to put you on lists. Let me tell you something. You want to put me on a list? Put me on all the lists. Put me on every single list you got.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to come after all of us? I don't think so. Because
Absolutely.
when they come after one of us, like Alex Jones or Steve Bannon or Donald Trump, we're going to say, we've got their back.
Absolutely. So in closing, again, I want to thank TP Action for having me here. I want to thank you all for being here. It's a great honor to be amongst Americans.
Thank you to Charlie. Thank you to Charlie.
Kirk, everybody. I just want to say in closing, the globalist forces are the ones destroying the dollar. They're the ones maneuvering us into collapse. They're the enemy. The corporate media is dead. They're zombies funded by globalists. They know they have no power. They're totally jealous of the truth. Governor Whitmer with the FBI tried to stage her own kidnapping. So again, we disavow any violence, any offensive violence, any kidnapping, any murder.
And we're going to get to the bottom of January 6th.
And that's where I was going next. We know January 6th was staged. Jack and I were both there and trying to keep people from going in the building. This has been so historic. So the globalist system is dead on arrival. But again, it wants to take us with them. So we can't just oppose the globalists. We have to get back to Americana 2.0 and promote that to the world and have a better system than them. And we are doing it. So again, I want to thank you all for everything you're doing. A lot of other great stuff coming up. I want to thank Jack again. But never forget, the answer to their tyranny, the answer to their new world order is 1776. God bless you all.
Got it.